The metal halls of the colony ship New Horizon were quiet at this hour. Captain Jake Rivers walked slowly through the lower decks, checking systems like he did every night before sleep. The ship had been his home for 15 years, carrying thousands of people to new worlds across the galaxy. He knew every corner, every sound, every smell. Tonight something was different. Jake stopped near the cargo bay doors. He heard a soft crying sound coming from inside. It was very quiet, almost like a whisper. He pressed his ear against the cold metal door and listened carefully. There it was, again. A baby crying. That was strange. No families lived in the cargo areas. Only supplies and equipment were stored there. Jake checked his security tablet. The system showed no people in Cargo Bay 7. But his ears told him something else. He opened the door slowly and stepped inside. The cargo bay was dark except for the small emergency lights along the walls. Big metal boxes and containers filled most of the space. Jake turned on his flashlight and moved between the stacks of supplies. The crying sound came from the far corner. Jake walked toward it, being very careful not to make noise. Behind a large container, he found something that made his heart stop. A young woman sat on the cold metal floor, holding a tiny baby against her chest. She was very thin, and her clothes were dirty and torn. The baby was wrapped in what looked like an old blanket. Both mother and child looked very sick and tired. The woman looked up when Jake's light found her. Her eyes were wide with fear. She held her baby closer and tried to move back against the wall. "Please," she whispered, "don't hurt us. We'll leave. Just give us one more day." Jake turned off his flashlight and sat down on the floor a few feet away from her. He wanted to show her he was not dangerous. In the dim emergency light, he could see her better. She was maybe 25 years old with dark hair and sad brown eyes. The baby could not be more than a few months old. "What's your name?" Jake asked softly. The woman looked at him for a long time before answering. Lisa Martinez. This is my son, Danny." "How long have you been here, Lisa?" 3 weeks, she said. Her voice was weak. "Maybe 4, I lost count." Jake looked around. The corner where they were hiding. He saw a small pile of empty food packets, some water bottles, and a few pieces of cloth that looked like they were being used as blankets. It was clear they had been living here for some time. "Where did you come from?" Jake asked, Lisa's eyes filled with tears. "Titan 7, the mining colony. There was an attack. Raiders came and destroyed everything. They killed so many people. I grabbed Danny and got to an escape pod just before they blew up the main building." Jake knew about Titan 7. It was a small mining settlement on the edge of human space. He had heard rumors about raids, but nothing official. Corporate wars were common out there, far from Federation protection. "The escape pod brought you here?" Jake asked. Lisa nodded. "It was damaged. The life support was failing. I saw your ship and managed to dock with the cargo bay when no one was watching. I know it was wrong, but Danny was dying. I had no choice." Jake studied the woman and her baby. He had seen many refugees in his years of space travel. People running from wars, disasters, and broken dreams. But something about Lisa seemed different. Despite being dirty and tired, she had an intelligent look in her eyes. The way she spoke showed education and training. "What did you do on Titan 7? Jake asked. "I was an engineer, atmospheric systems. I helped make the air safe for everyone to breathe." Lisa looked down at her baby. "Fat lot of good it did us when the bomb started falling." Jake felt something stir in his chest. This woman was not just some refugee. She was a trained professional who had helped keep people alive. Now she was hiding in his cargo bay, afraid and hungry. "Have you eaten today?" Jake asked. Lisa shook her head. "I gave the last food packet to Danny this morning." "Well, he doesn't eat solid food yet, but I need to eat so I can feed him." Her face turned red with embarrassment. Jake stood up slowly. "Wait here. I'll be right back." "Please don't report us," Lisa said quickly. "I know we're not supposed to be here, but if you turn us in, they'll send us to a prison colony. Danny won't survive that. He's just a baby." Jake stopped and looked back at her. "I'm not going to report you. I'm going to get you some food." He left the cargo bay and walked quickly to the ship's kitchen. Most of the crew was asleep, so the halls were empty. Jake filled a bag with bread, fruit, soup packets, and bottles of water. He also took some milk powder for the baby and a warm blanket from the medical supply room. When he returned to the cargo bay, Lisa was still in the same spot. She watched him carefully as he sat down and began taking food from the bag. "Here," Jake said, handing her a bottle of water and a piece of bread. "Eat slowly. Your stomach isn't used to food right now." Lisa took the bread with shaking hands. She ate it very slowly, like Jake had told her. Tears ran down her face as she chewed. "Thank you," she whispered. "I don't know why you're being kind to us. Most people would have called security already." Jake watched her eat and thought about his own life. He had been alone for so long, focused only on his job and his ship. He had money saved up from years of dangerous missions. He lived in a nice cabin and ate good food every day. But this woman and her baby had nothing except each other. "Everyone deserves help when they need it," Jake said simply. Lisa finished the bread and started on some fruit. Color was already returning to her face. The baby, Danny, seemed calmer now that his mother was eating. "What happens now?" Lisa asked. "I can't stay hidden forever. Someone will find us." Jake was quiet for a moment. He was thinking about something, but he was not ready to tell her yet. "Let me worry about that. For now, just focus on getting your strength back." He stood up and left the rest of the food with her. "I'll come back tomorrow night with more supplies. Try to rest." As Jake walked back to his cabin, his mind was already working on a plan. He had connections throughout human space. People owed him favors. Money could solve many problems. Lisa Martinez and her baby were not going to live in a cargo bay forever. Jake Rivers was going to make sure of that. But first, he needed to learn more about who Lisa really was and why raiders had attacked her colony. Something told him there was more to this story than a simple raid. And Jake Rivers had learned long ago to trust his instincts. Jake Rivers could not sleep that night. He kept thinking about Lisa Martinez and her baby in the cold cargo bay. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw her frightened face and the way she held Danny so tightly against her chest. The next morning, Jake sat in his captain's office with his coffee and opened the ship's main computer system. He had access to databases from across human space. If Lisa Martinez was who she said she was, there would be records. He typed her name into the search system and waited. Within seconds, information began appearing on his screen. Jake's eyes grew wide as he read Dr. Lisa Martinez was not just any engineer. She was one of the most important atmospheric scientists in human space. Her work had made it possible for people to live on dozens of worlds that would have been deadly without her air processing systems. She had saved thousands of lives with her inventions. The records showed she had worked for Titan Industries on their mining colony project. But 6 months ago, something had gone wrong. There were reports of corporate disputes, stolen research, and legal battles. Then the records stopped. It was like Lisa Martinez had disappeared from the official databases. Jake dug deeper. He used his security codes to access restricted military files. What he found made him angry. Titan Industries had stolen Lisa's research and claimed it as their own. When she tried to fight back through the courts, they had her blacklisted from working anywhere in human space. They spread lies about her, saying she was unreliable and dangerous to work with. Lisa had been forced to take a basic engineering job on Titan 7 just to survive. And now Jake understood why raiders had attacked that colony. Titan Industries wanted to make sure Lisa could never tell anyone the truth about what they had done to her. Jake leaned back in his chair and rubbed his face with his hands. This was bigger than he had thought. Lisa was not just a refugee. She was a victim of corporate crime, and powerful people wanted her to stay quiet forever. But Jake Rivers had his own secrets. He was not just a simple ship captain. Years ago, he had been a Federation intelligence officer. He knew how to find information that other people wanted to hide. And he knew how to keep people safe from those who wanted to hurt them. Jake opened another database, this one hidden deep in the ship's computer system. It contained information about alien activity near human space. What he saw there made his blood run cold. A Zephyrian Empire scout ship had been detected in this Sector 3. Days ago, the aliens were known for watching human colonies and gathering information. Their government was considering war with humanity, and they were looking for reasons to attack. The Zephyrians believed humans were cruel and selfish, just like most other space-traveling species they had encountered. They thought humans would always choose personal gain over helping others. If they decided humans were a threat, the war would be terrible. Jake realized something important. If the Zephyrians were watching his ship, they might see how he handled the situation with Lisa and Danny. Would he follow the rules and turn them over to authorities? Or would he do something different? Jake closed the computer files and walked to the bridge of his ship. His second-in-command, Lieutenant Pete Johnson, was checking the navigation systems. "Pete, I need you to run a quiet scan of the area around our ship," Jake said. "Look for anything unusual. Small ships, strange energy. Readings, anything that doesn't belong." Pete looked at him with curiosity. "Is there a problem, Captain?" "Maybe. Just run the scan and let me know what you find." Jake left the bridge and went back to his office. He had calls to make and plans to form. But first he needed to check on Lisa and Danny again. That evening, Jake returned to Cargo Bay 7 with more food and supplies. He also brought clean clothes and medicine. Lisa was still in the same corner, but she looked a little stronger after eating the food he had given her the night before. "How are you feeling?" Jake asked as he sat down near her. "Better, thanks." "To you." Lisa looked at the new supplies he had brought. "This is too much. I don't know how I can ever pay you back." Jake was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Lisa, I need to ask you something, and I need you to tell me the truth. What really happened at Titan Industries?" Lisa's face changed. She looked scared and angry at the same time. "How do you know about that? I have access to certain databases. I know you're Dr. Lisa Martinez, the atmospheric engineer. I know about your research and what they did to you." Lisa looked down at her baby. Danny was sleeping peacefully in her arms. "They stole everything," she said quietly. 5 years of my work, inventions that could help millions of people. They took it all and put their names on it. Why didn't you go to the Federation courts?" Lisa laughed, but there was no happiness in the sound. "With what money? With what lawyers? Titan Industries has more money than some planets. They bought off judges, destroyed evidence, and made sure no one would listen to me." Jake nodded. He had seen corporate corruption before. "What? About Titan 7? Why were you there?" "It was the only job I could get. They blacklisted me everywhere else. I was doing basic air recycling work for barely enough money to buy food." Lisa's voice became angry. "Then the raiders came. But they weren't random raiders, were they? Someone sent them. What makes you say that?" "They knew exactly where to find me. They destroyed my quarters first, before hitting any of the important mining equipment. They wanted me dead." Jake felt his suspicions confirmed. This was not a random refugee situation. This was attempted murder, covered up to look like a raider attack. "Lisa, I'm going to help you," Jake said. But I need you to trust me completely. Can you do that? Lisa studied his face in the dim light. You could have turned us in already. You could have taken credit for finding stowaways. Instead, you're bringing us food and asking about my past. Why? Jake thought about the Zephyrian scout ship that might be watching them. He thought about the choice he was about to make and how it might affect not just Lisa and Danny, but possibly all of humanity. Because it's the right thing to do, Jake said simply. Unknown to both of them, 300,000 kilometers away, Commander Vextar of the Zephyrian scout ship Shadow Wing was indeed watching. His advanced sensors had detected Jake's visits to the cargo bay. His computers had intercepted and translated their conversations. Vextar studied the data with confusion. According to everything the Zephyrian Empire knew about humans, Captain Rivers should have reported the stowaways immediately. It would have been the logical, self-serving thing to do. Instead, he was helping them and asking for nothing in return. This was not the human behavior Vextar expected to see. His reports back to the Empire had always described humans as selfish and aggressive. But this Captain Rivers was acting differently. Vextar decided to keep watching. Perhaps this was just one unusual human. Or perhaps there was something about this species that the Zephyrian Empire did not understand. The decision to watch and wait would change the course of galactic history. But neither Vextar nor Jake Rivers knew that yet. For now they were just two beings trying to understand what it meant to do the right thing in a galaxy full of difficult choices. 6 months had passed since Jake Rivers rescued Lisa Martinez and her baby from the cargo bay. The old research station in the Proxima system had been transformed into something nobody expected. Jake stood on the observation deck of what was now called Haven Station, watching children play in the central garden area. The station had artificial gravity and a dome that showed the stars above. Plants grew in carefully tended gardens, and the air smelled fresh and clean thanks to Lisa's atmospheric systems. Hard to believe this place was falling apart when we got here, said Maria Santos, who had joined Jake at the window. She was now the station's security chief, having left her old job to help with Jake's project. Lisa's done incredible work, Jake replied. The whole station runs better than most Federation facilities now. Haven Station was home to over 200 people. They were all refugees from different parts of human space. Some had fled from corporate wars like Lisa. Others had lost their homes to natural disasters or pirate attacks. A few were running from political persecution. Jake had used every credit he owned to buy the station and repair it. He had sold his apartment on Earth, his personal spacecraft, and even his collection of rare books. He now lived in a simple room no bigger than the quarters he gave to refugee families. The station had become much more than a shelter. Lisa had set up research laboratories where she worked on new atmospheric technologies. Other refugees contributed their own skills. Dr. Kevin Wright, a former Federation medic, ran the medical center. Engineer Rosa Delgado managed the power systems. Teacher Nancy Foster started a school for the children. Everyone worked together to make the station self-sufficient. They grew their own food, recycled their own air and water, and even manufactured basic supplies. Jake had created something special, a place where people could rebuild their lives with dignity, but Jake's actions had attracted attention beyond Haven Station. Other wealthy humans had heard about what he was doing. Some came to visit and see for themselves. What they found inspired them to start their own refugee settlements. Captain Maria Santos had been the first to follow Jake's example. She used her savings to buy an old cargo ship and converted it into a mobile refugee transport. She traveled between systems, picking up displaced families and bringing them to safe havens. Businessman Alex Chin had done something even bigger. He converted his entire shipping fleet into refugee transports. His ships now carried people instead of cargo, moving families from dangerous areas to places where they could start over. The movement was growing beyond anything Jake had imagined. Word spread through underground networks and refugee camps. People began calling it the Haven Project, and Jake Rivers was becoming famous throughout human space. But Jake did not want fame. He wanted to help people, and he was worried that too much attention might bring danger to Haven Station. Titan Industries was still looking for Lisa Martinez, and they had powerful friends in the Federation government. Jake's worries were not unfounded. 3 days ago, a Federation inspection team had arrived at Haven Station. They claimed to be doing routine safety checks, but Jake suspected they were really looking for Lisa. The inspection team was led by Commander Robert Hayes, a Federation officer who worked closely with corporate interests. Hayes walked through the station with a suspicious look, asking pointed questions about the residents and their backgrounds. "This is quite an operation you have here, Captain Rivers," Hayes said as they toured the research laboratories. "Very impressive for a private citizen." "We're just trying to help people get back on their feet," Jake replied carefully. Hayes stopped in front of Lisa's laboratory. Through the window, they could see her working on atmospheric processing equipment. She was wearing a lab coat and safety glasses, completely focused on her work. "That woman looks familiar," Hayes said. "What did you say her name was?" "Dr. Helen Martinez," Jake lied smoothly. He had given Lisa a new identity with documents to match. "She's our atmospheric engineer." Hayes stared at Lisa for a long moment. Jake could see the suspicion in his eyes. "I'd like to speak with her. She's very busy with an important project," Jake said. "Perhaps later." Hayes nodded but did not look convinced. Jake knew he would have to be very careful. If Hayes discovered Lisa's real identity, everything Jake had built would be destroyed. That evening, Jake called an emergency meeting with Lisa, Maria, and Alex Chun, who had arrived that morning with another group of refugees. They met in Jake's small office, away from the main corridors where Hayes might overhear. "He knows," Lisa said immediately. "That Commander Hayes, I saw the way he looked at me. He suspects who I really am." "We need to get you off the station," Maria said. "I can have a ship ready in 2 hours." "No," Lisa said firmly. "I'm not running anymore. This station is my home now. These people depend on the work I'm doing here." Jake understood how she felt. Lisa had found purpose again, using her skills to help hundreds of people. Her atmospheric systems were keeping everyone alive, and her research was developing new technologies that could help millions more. "There might be another way," Alex said thoughtfully. "What if we go public? Tell the whole galaxy what Titan Industries did to Lisa. Make them the villains instead of us." Jake shook his head. "They have too much power. They'll just deny everything and make us look like criminals." "Then what do we do?" Maria asked. Jake was quiet for a moment, thinking. Then he said, "We keep doing what we're doing. We help people. We make Haven Station so important that the Federation can't shut us down without looking like monsters." "And if they try anyway?" Lisa asked. "Then we fight. But not with weapons. We fight with the truth and with the good we're doing." Unknown to the people in Jake's office, their conversation was being monitored by advanced alien technology. "Commander." Vextar's ship had been watching Haven Station for months, recording everything that happened there. Vextar had seen Jake spend his personal fortune to help strangers. He had watched humans from across the galaxy come together to support refugees and displaced families. He had observed the research being done to develop technologies that would benefit all of humanity. Most importantly, Vextar had seen how Jake and his people responded to danger. Instead of abandoning their principles when threatened, they chose to stand firm and continue helping others. This was not the human behavior the Zephyrian Empire expected. According to their intelligence, humans were supposed to be selfish and cruel, interested only in personal gain. But Jake Rivers and his followers were proving that assessment wrong. Vextar began, composing a message to send back to the Zephyrian High Command. He would recommend that they delay their planned attack on human space. Perhaps there was more to learn about this species before making any final decisions about war. The alien commander did not know it yet, but his recommendation would save millions of lives on both sides. The galaxy was about to change, and it was all because one human ship captain had chosen to help a homeless mother and her baby. The news spread like wildfire across human space. Someone had leaked the story of Haven Station and Jake Rivers to the galactic news networks. Within days, everyone knew about the ship captain who had given up his fortune to help refugees. Jake stood in the communication center of Haven Station, watching news reports from dozens of worlds. Reporters were calling him a hero, some called him crazy. But everywhere, people were talking about what he had done. "Captain Rivers has created something remarkable here," said news reporter Jenny Blake from Earth Central News. "Haven Station houses over 300 refugees now, and they're completely self-sufficient. Dr. Helen Martinez, their atmospheric engineer, has developed new air processing systems that are cleaner and more efficient than anything the Federation currently uses." Jake turned off the newsfeed and rubbed his tired eyes. The attention was making him nervous. He had always preferred to work quietly, without publicity. But Lisa walked into the room and put her hand on his shoulder. "This is good, Jake," she said. "People need to see what's possible when we help each other. I'm worried about security. All this attention might bring trouble." Lisa smiled. "Look outside. Tell me what you see." Jake walked to the window and looked down at the station's main plaza. What he saw made his heart feel warm. Children were playing while their parents worked in the gardens. Former refugees who now had jobs were helping newer arrivals get settled. People from different worlds and cultures were working together like they had always been neighbors. "They're happy," Jake said. "They're more than happy, they're hopeful, and that hope is spreading." Lisa was right. The story of Haven Station had inspired people throughout human space. On the planet New Boston, a group of wealthy citizens had pooled their money to build a refugee city. On Mars Colony 7, students had organized supply drives to send resources to displaced families, but the most important changes were happening among the refugees themselves. People who had given up hope were finding reasons to believe in the future again. And they were not just accepting help, they were helping others. Dr. Kevin Wright had organized mobile medical teams that traveled to refugee camps throughout the sector. Engineer Rosa Delgado was teaching displaced workers how to repair and maintain spacecraft systems. Teacher Nancy Foster had started a distance learning program that reached children on dozens of worlds. The Haven Project had become a movement, and it was growing every day. Jake received a message that surprised him. It was from Admiral Patricia Stone, one of the highest-ranking officers in the Federation Navy. She wanted to visit Haven Station personally. "This could be trouble, Maria," Santos warned Jake. "High-ranking military officers don't make social visits." But when Admiral Stone arrived 3 days later, she came with only a small escort and asked for a private meeting with Jake. She was an older woman with gray hair and intelligent eyes that seemed to miss nothing. "Captain Rivers, I've been following your work here with great interest," she said as they sat in Jake's simple office. "The Federation Council is divided about what you're doing. Some think you're a troublemaker. Others think you're exactly what humanity needs right now." "Which side are you on, Admiral?" Admiral Stone smiled. "I'm on the side of results, and your results speak for themselves. Haven Station has taken in refugees that the Federation couldn't handle. You've developed new technologies that could benefit everyone. And you've done it all without asking for government money or support." Jake waited for her to continue. He had learned that military officers usually had more to say than they first revealed. "I'm here to offer you something, Captain Rivers. The Federation wants to make the Haven Project official. We'll provide funding, protection, and legal authority for you to expand your operations. Jake was quiet for a long moment. What's the catch, smart man? The catch is that we want some control over how the project grows. We need to make sure it doesn't conflict with Federation security or foreign policy. You mean you want to make sure we don't embarrass the government or upset your corporate friends? Admiral Stone's smile faded. I mean, we want to make sure this project helps humanity, instead of accidentally starting a war. Jake did not understand what she meant. A war with who? Admiral Stone leaned forward. Captain Rivers, are you aware that alien forces have been watching your station for months? Jake felt his blood turn cold. What aliens? Zephyrian Empire. Scouts. They've been monitoring human space for years, looking for excuses to attack us. Their government believes humans are naturally cruel and aggressive. They think we'll eventually become a threat to other species. Jake thought about all the refugees on his station, all the families he was trying to help, but we're not aggressive. We're just trying to help people. That's exactly the point. The Zephyrians expected humans to abandon refugees and look out only for themselves. Instead, they're seeing humans sacrifice their own comfort to help strangers. It's confusing their intelligence analysts. Admiral Stone stood up and walked to the window. Your actions here might be the key to preventing a war, Captain Rivers, but only if we handle this situation very carefully. Jake felt the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders. He had just wanted to help Lisa and Danny. Now he was learning that his choices might affect the entire galaxy. What do you need me to do? Keep doing exactly what you're doing. Help refugees. Develop new technologies. Show the galaxy that humans care about more than just power and profit. But do it with Federation support, so we can protect you from corporate retaliation. Jake thought about Titan Industries and Commander Hayes, who had been asking too many questions about Lisa. Protection would be useful. Then we have a deal? Jake looked out at Haven Station one more time. In the distance, he could see Lisa, working in her laboratory, developing new systems that would help people breathe cleaner air. He could see children playing in gardens that grew food for hundreds of families. He could see hope where there had once been despair. We have a deal. Admiral, but I have conditions of my own. Admiral Stone raised an eyebrow, such as, Dr. Helen Martinez stays under my protection. No questions asked about her background. The refugees here get full Federation citizenship if they want it. And the Haven Project remains focused on helping people, not advancing political goals. Admiral. Stone nodded, agreed. You drive a hard bargain for someone who's supposed to be just a ship captain. Jake smiled. I'm full of surprises. After Admiral Stone left, Jake walked through Haven Station, thinking about the conversation. He had started this project to help one woman and her baby. Now it was apparently important enough to influence relations between species. 300,000 kilometers away, Commander Vextar was thinking similar thoughts. His latest reports to the Zephyrian High Command had created confusion and debate. Some officials wanted to attack humanity before their compassionate behavior could spread to other species. Others wanted to learn more about this unusual human trait. Vextar had been ordered to continue watching and gathering information. What he learned in the coming months would determine whether the galaxy remained at peace or erupted into the most devastating war in its history. But for now, children were playing in the gardens of Haven Station, and that gave both Jake Rivers and Commander Vextar reason to hope. 1 year after Jake Rivers first found Lisa Martinez in his cargo bay, everything changed. The change came not from human space, but from the stars beyond. Jake was working in his office on Haven Station when the emergency alarms began sounding. Maria Santos burst through his door with a look of panic on her face. Jake, you need to see this. We've got incoming ships. Big ones. Jake rushed to the command center where the station's sensors showed multiple spacecraft approaching from deep space. The ships were unlike anything in the Federation database. They were sleek and silver, with strange energy signatures that made the computers beep with warnings. Are they hostile? Jake asked. Unknown, replied the sensor operator. They're not targeting us, but they're not responding to our communications either. Lisa hurried into the command center, carrying 2-year-old Danny in her arms. The boy had grown strong and healthy during their time on Haven Station, and he was now walking and saying his first words. What's happening? Lisa asked Dot before Jake could answer. The communication system crackled to life. A voice spoke in accented but clear human language. Haven Station, this is Commander Vextar of the Zephyrian Empire. We request permission to dock. We come in peace and wish to speak with Captain Jake Rivers. The command center fell silent. Everyone stared at the communication panel. First contact with an alien species was supposed to happen through official Federation channels, not at a refugee station in the middle of nowhere. Should we contact the Federation? Maria asked quietly. Jake thought for a moment. Then he activated the communication system. Commander Vextar, this is Captain Jake Rivers. You have permission to dock. But I should warn you, this is a civilian station with families and children aboard. We understand, Captain Rivers. We have been watching your station for some time. We mean no harm to you or your people. 3 hours later, Jake stood in Haven, station's main docking bay, watching the most important moment in human history unfold. The alien ship was smaller than he had expected, designed for maybe 20 crew members. It docked smoothly, and after a few minutes, the airlock opened. Commander Vextar was the first to emerge. He was tall and thin, with blue-gray skin and large dark eyes. His movements were graceful and careful. Behind him came 5 other Zephyrians, all wearing what looked like ceremonial robes rather than military uniforms. Jake stepped forward. Welcome to Haven Station, Commander Vextar. I'm Jake Rivers. Vextar studied Jake's face for a long moment. Then he did something unexpected. He bowed slightly, a gesture of respect. Captain Rivers, it is an honor to meet you. Your actions have changed the course of galactic history. I'm not sure I understand. Vextar looked around the docking bay, where curious station residents were gathering to see the aliens. Children peered out from behind their parents, wide-eyed with wonder. No one seemed afraid, just amazed. Perhaps we could speak privately? Vextar suggested. Jake led the aliens to the station's conference room, where Admiral Stone was waiting. She had arrived that morning for a routine inspection, and found herself witnessing first contact instead. Commander Vextar, Admiral Stone said formally. I am Admiral Patricia Stone of the Federation Navy. Your presence here is unexpected. Vextar nodded politely to the Admiral, then turned his attention back to Jake. Captain Rivers, for the past year, the Zephyrian Empire has been watching this station and many others like it. We have been studying human behavior as part of our evaluation of your species. Evaluation for what? Jake asked. For war, Vextar said simply. The Zephyrian High Command believed humans were a threat to galactic peace. We have encountered many spacefaring species, and they all follow the same pattern. The strong exploit the weak. Resources flow upward to those with power. Compassion is rare and usually false. Vextar activated a small device that projected holographic images into the air above the conference table. The images showed different alien civilizations, most of them destroying themselves through greed and violence. We expected humans to be the same, Vextar continued. Our agents reported that your species was aggressive and selfish. We were preparing for preemptive strikes against your colonies. Jake felt sick to his stomach. You were planning to attack U.S. Yes, until we observed your actions, Captain Rivers. The holographic display changed to show images of Haven Station. Jake saw himself bringing food to Lisa in the cargo bay. He saw the fake rescue operation. He saw the station being built and refugees being welcomed. We watched you sacrifice your personal wealth to help strangers, Vexstar said. We saw other humans follow your example across dozens of worlds. We observed families opening their homes to refugees they had never met. We documented scientists sharing their knowledge freely to help displaced communities. Admiral Stone leaned forward. And this changed your mind about attacking us? Vexstar was quiet for a moment. It confused our analysts. According to our models of species behavior, what we observed should not have been possible. Humans were acting in ways that contradicted everything we thought we knew about intelligent life. So you decided to investigate further? Jake asked. I was ordered to make contact and learn more about this anomaly. What I have learned during my time watching Haven Station has convinced me that the Zephyrian Empire was wrong about humanity. Vexstar stood up and walked to the window that looked out over the station's main plaza. Children were playing in the gardens while their parents worked together to maintain the station's systems. You have created something here that we have never seen before, Captain Rivers. A community where species survival depends not on dominating others, but on helping them. Where the strongest use their power to lift up the weakest. Jake joined. Vexstar at the window. That's just what people should do for each other. That is exactly why your species is unique. What you call normal behavior is actually extraordinary in the galaxy. Most civilizations destroy themselves because they cannot learn to value others above themselves. Vexstar turned back to face Jake and Admiral Stone. I have recommended to the Zephyrian High Command that we abandon our plans for war. Instead, we wish to establish diplomatic relations with humanity. We want to learn from you. Admiral Stone looked stunned. You're offering an alliance? We are offering friendship, and we are not the only ones. Word of Captain Rivers' actions has spread beyond human space. Other alien civilizations are beginning to take notice of humanity's unusual compassion. Jake thought about Lisa, now Dr. Lisa Martinez again, working in her laboratory to develop new technologies that would help both humans and aliens live on previously uninhabitable worlds. He thought about Danny, growing up in a station where different species could be friends instead of enemies. What happens now? Jake asked. Vexstar smiled, an expression that looked strange on his alien features, but somehow conveyed the same warmth as a human smile. Now we build a better galaxy together. The Zephyrian Empire has technologies that could help your refugee communities. Our atmospheric specialists would like to work with Dr. Martinez on her air processing systems. Our agricultural experts could help Haven Station expand its food production. Jake felt a warm feeling in his chest. 1 year ago, he had been a lonely ship captain whose biggest concern was checking cargo bay security. Now he was apparently helping to shape the future of galactic civilization. There is one more thing, Vexstar said. The Zephyrian High Command wishes to honor Captain Rivers and Haven Station. We would like to establish a permanent embassy here, if you will accept it. Jake looked at Admiral Stone, who nodded with amazement. Then he looked out at the station where Lisa was teaching alien children to garden alongside human children. Welcome to Haven Station, Commander Vexstar. I think you're going to like it here. Years later, when historians wrote about the moment that prevented the First Galactic War, they would focus on the diplomatic negotiations and technological exchanges. But Jake Rivers always remembered it differently. He remembered a scared young mother holding her baby in a cold cargo bay, and the simple decision to bring them food instead of calling security. Sometimes the smallest acts of kindness have the biggest consequences. Danny Martinez, now 5 years old, played with Zephyrian children in gardens that grew food for dozens of species. He would grow up in a galaxy where compassion had triumphed over conquest, where different species worked together instead of fighting. And it all started because one human being chose to help strangers when no one was watching. That, Jake Rivers thought, was what it truly meant to be human. The morning started like any other on Haven Station. Jake Rivers was drinking his coffee and reading reports when the communication system erupted with urgent messages from across human space. Every news channel was broadcasting the same incredible story. Alien ships had appeared in 12 different star systems simultaneously. They were not attacking. Instead, they were sending the same message to every human colony and space station. People of Earth and her colonies, we are the Zephyrian Empire, we come in peace. We request a meeting with Captain Jake Rivers of Haven Station to discuss matters of galactic importance. Jake nearly dropped his coffee cup. Lisa Martinez hurried into his office, carrying 2-year-old Danny. Her face was pale with worry. "Jake, what's happening? Why do aliens want to talk to you?" Before Jake could answer, Maria Santos rushed in. "Boss, we've got company. 3 alien ships just dropped out of hyperspace, and they're heading straight for us." Jake looked out the window of his office and saw them. The ships were beautiful, made of what looked like silver metal that gleamed in the starlight. They moved with perfect grace, nothing like the rough military vessels Jake was used to seeing. "Get everyone to the central areas," Jake ordered. "Keep the children calm. If these aliens wanted to hurt us, they probably would have done it already." An hour later, Jake stood in the main docking bay of Haven Station. Admiral Stone had arrived just in time, her Federation ship docking moments before the alien vessels. She stood beside Jake, trying to look calm despite this being humanity's first official contact with another intelligent species. The alien ship docked with a soft hiss. Jake could hear his own heartbeat as the airlock opened. What stepped through changed everything he thought he knew about the universe. Commander Vextar was tall and elegant, with smooth blue-gray skin and large, intelligent eyes. Behind him came 5 other aliens, each wearing robes that seemed to shimmer with their own light. They moved with careful dignity, showing no aggression or fear. "Captain Rivers," Vextar said in perfect human language. "I am Commander Vextar of the Zephyrian Empire. We have traveled far to meet you." Jake stepped forward. "Welcome to Haven Station, Commander. I have to admit, I'm not sure why you wanted to see me specifically." Vextar looked around the docking bay, where dozens of station residents had gathered to witness this historic moment. Children peered out from behind their parents, their eyes wide with curiosity rather than fear. "Perhaps we could speak in private," Vextar suggested. "What I have to tell you affects not just your station, but the entire galaxy." They moved to the station's main conference room. Jake noticed that Vextar walked slowly, taking time to observe everything around him. The alien seemed particularly interested in watching the refugee families who lived on the station. "Captain Rivers," Vextar began once they were seated, "the Zephyrian Empire has been watching human space for 2 years. We have monitored your colonies, your ships, and your behavior as a species." Admiral Stone leaned forward. "For what purpose?" "To decide whether humanity represented a threat to galactic peace," Vextar replied simply. "You see, in our long history of exploring the galaxy, we have encountered 43 different intelligent species. 42 of them followed the same destructive pattern." Vextar activated a device that projected holographic images above the conference table. Jake saw scenes of various alien civilizations. Most of the images showed war, destruction, and suffering. "Every spacefaring species we have studied eventually becomes consumed with conquest and domination," Vextar explained. "They use their technology to exploit weaker species and grab resources for themselves. Eventually, they either destroy themselves or become a threat to everyone around them." Jake felt a chill run down his spine. And you thought humans would be the same? Our initial observations suggested exactly that. We saw your wars, your corporate exploitation, your tendency to put profit above people. The Zephyrian High Command was preparing to eliminate humanity before you could become a galactic threat. Admiral Stone's face went white. You were planning to attack us? Yes, until one of our scout ships began monitoring this station. The holographic display changed to show images of Haven Station over the past year. Jake saw himself bringing food to Lisa in the cargo bay. He watched the station being built and refugees arriving from across human space. We observed something that contradicted everything we believed about intelligent species, Vextar continued. We saw a human being sacrifice his personal wealth and comfort to help strangers. We watched other humans follow his example, creating a network of assistance that spanned dozens of worlds. Jake looked at the images of refugees working together, sharing resources, and helping each other build new lives. That's just what people should do. That statement alone proves my point, Vextar said with what might have been a smile. What? You consider normal behavior is actually extraordinary in our experience. Most species cannot conceive of helping others without expecting something in return. Lisa entered the conference room at that moment, having left Danny with one of the station's teachers. She stopped when she saw the aliens, but showed no fear. Dr. Martinez, Vextar said, standing and bowing slightly to her. Your atmospheric processing work has been observed and greatly admired by our scientists. Lisa looked surprised. You know about my research? We know everything about Haven Station. Dr. Martinez, your invention of new air processing systems that you freely share with other refugee communities. Captain Rivers' transformation of this station into a sanctuary for displaced families. The education programs that teach both human and alien children together. Jake was confused. Alien children? We don't have any alien children here. Vextar gestured toward the window that looked out over the station's main plaza. Look more carefully, Captain Rivers. Jake looked and gasped. Among the human children playing in the gardens, he could see several who looked different. They had the same blue-gray skin as Vextar, though much smaller and younger. We have been secretly placing some of our own refugee children here for the past 6 months, Vextar explained. Children whose parents died in conflicts with other species. We wanted to see how humans would treat alien refugees. But how? Lisa asked. We would have noticed. Our children can alter their appearance to look human when necessary. It is a natural ability of our species. But here on Haven Station, they felt safe enough to show their true forms. Jake thought about all the children on the station. He remembered some new arrivals who had seemed shy and different, but he had assumed they were just traumatized by whatever they had fled from. You've been testing us, Admiral Stone said. Yes, and you have passed beyond our highest expectations. Not only did humans accept alien children without question, you treated them with the same care and compassion you showed your own species. Vextar walked to the window and looked out at the children playing together. The Zephyrian High Command has voted unanimously to abandon all plans for conflict with humanity. Instead, we wish to propose something that has never happened before in galactic history. What's that? Jake asked. An alliance based on mutual respect and shared compassion. We want to learn from humanity how to build a galactic civilization that values cooperation over conquest. Admiral Stone stood up slowly. You're offering a formal alliance between our species? More than that. We are offering to share our technology, our knowledge, and our resources to help humanity spread this model of compassionate civilization throughout the galaxy. Together, we can change how intelligent species interact with each other. Jake looked out at the station where human and alien children were playing together, unaware that they were creating the foundation for a new kind of galactic society. What about the other alien species you mentioned? Jake asked. The ones who follow the destructive pattern? Many of them have also been watching your actions, Captain Rivers. Word of Haven Station has spread beyond human space. Some species are curious about this new approach to civilization. Others are afraid that compassion might spread to their own populations and threaten their power structures. Vextar turned back to face them. The choice you made 1 year ago in a cargo bay has already begun changing the galaxy. The question now is whether humanity is ready to help lead that change. Jake thought about Lisa and Danny, about all the refugees who had found new hope on Haven Station, about the movement that had grown from one simple act of kindness. Commander Vextar, Jake said, Haven Station would be honored to serve as a meeting place for species who want to build a better galaxy together. Years later, historians would mark this day as the beginning of the Galactic Compassion Alliance. But Jake Rivers always remembered it as the day he learned that small acts of kindness can grow into something magnificent. Danny Martinez, now running through the gardens with his human and alien friends, would grow up in a galaxy where different species work together instead of fighting. And it all started because his mother needed help, and one human being chose to give it.